This hearing took a dramatic and emotional turn when Pramila Jayapal confronted Attorney General Pam Bondi over one of the most sensitive and controversial issues in recent memory, the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. What started as a routine line of questioning quickly escalated into a tense standoff as Jayapal demanded accountability and called for a direct apology to survivors sitting just feet away.
Questions recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Attorney General Bondi, right here. We are joined in this room by some of the thousands of survivors from Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking ring. They have shown such incredible courage in speaking out, in demanding accountability to bring the predators and pedophiles to justice. The Epstein Files Transparency Act required your Department of Justice to disclose the perpetrators connected with Epstein's criminal activities and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators. Here behind me is one example of an email from Epstein to a man whose name was redacted. The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted, along with numerous files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt to intimidate survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades." To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please note for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions. The witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer.
Time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't she ask Merrick Garland this?
I am reclaiming my time, and when I reclaim my time, it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady has reclaimed her time.
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say this.
I'll direct it to
what
you.
a massive cover-up.
No, I'm answering a question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness is interrupted.
I'm not going to get in the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time.
doing theatrics.
Let me have my time.
The gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final 17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only to then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up. And I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level,
Chairman,
apologize
now recognizes the chairman.
what you have done.
The time of the gentlelady expired. The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back. We appreciate that. We appreciate the thought. And I would argue the central issue in the last election, the presidential election, was securing the border. The gentleman from Arizona who knows something about securing the border is up for.
What unfolded in this hearing wasn't just a political clash. It was a moment that exposed a deeper struggle over accountability, transparency, and how institutions respond when real people are harmed. When Pramila Jayapal pressed Pam Bondi to turn and apologize, the question wasn't just procedural, it was human. It forced the room to confront whether leadership is willing to go beyond statements and actually acknowledge the impact of decisions on survivors. At the center of this exchange is the long shadow of Jeffrey Epstein and the failures surrounding his network. For years, questions have lingered about who was protected, what was hidden, and whether justice has truly been served. Jayapal's argument taps into a growing public frustration that powerful systems often move faster to shield themselves than to protect victims. Her demand for an apology wasn't just symbolic. It was a challenge to whether the Department of Justice is willing to own its role in what survivors are describing as further harm. Bondi's response, or lack of a direct one, speaks to a broader issue in political hearings. Officials are trained to stay within controlled messaging, often avoiding emotionally charged moments that could imply liability or wrongdoing. But in doing so, they sometimes reinforce the very perception critics are pointing out, that institutions can feel distant, calculated, and unwilling to engage on a human level when it matters most. There's also a larger political backdrop here. Moments like this don't happen in isolation. They reflect a system where both sides are constantly battling over narrative, responsibility, and public perception. Accusations of a cover-up and theatrics show how quickly serious issues can become politicized, making it harder to separate genuine accountability from partisan conflict. And that tension is exactly what the public is left to navigate. Ultimately, this exchange raises a question that goes beyond this hearing. What does real accountability look like? Is it legal compliance, carefully worded statements, and internal reviews? Or is it facing those affected directly and acknowledging harm in a way that feels real? That's the question viewers are left with, and it's why moments like this resonate far beyond the walls of Congress.